My people, gather round and listen well, because the story I want to share with you tonight is not just any tale. It is one that has been told and read old by the old ones, whispered by mothers to their children, and carried by the winds that pass over rivers. It is the story of a young girl, a mermaid, and the danger of envy. Even now, they say, if you pass near that river at night, when the moon is bright, and the water is calm, you will hear voices that do not belong to humans. Some say it is the cry of souls lost forever. Others say it is the gentle song of the mermaid, still watching, still listening. But one truth stands: this story begins with a poor village girl named Amaka, and it does not end without tears. Amaka lived in a small village surrounded by farmlands and thick forest. Life was not easy for her family. Her father was a struggling farmer who worked from morning till night yet came home with little to show. Her mother sold vegetables in the market, but many days, the money was not enough to buy even a cup of rice. There were times when Amaka went to bed hungry, but she never complained. She was gentle, humble, and beautiful, not only in her face but in her heart. People in the village loved her because she always greeted elders with respect, fetched water for old women, helped mothers carry heavy firewood, and even gave food to children who had nothing to eat, even when she herself had so little. But there was one thing that made Amaka different from everyone else. She loved the river more than anything. The river was wide, deep, and full of secrets. During the day, people went there to fetch water, to wash clothes, to fish, and to swim. But when evening came and the village grew quiet, Amaka would sneak to the riverbank and sit alone. And there, she would sing. Her voice was soft and sweet, rising above the sound of crickets and frogs. It was a voice that carried sorrow and beauty at the same time. Some said her singing could calm even the angriest heart. But what Amaka did not know was that under the surface of the water, something strange was listening. One night, the moon was bright and round, shining down on the river, making it look like silver. Amaka sat by the bank, her legs in the cool water, and began to sing. As her song echoed across the water, the river began to move strangely. Small waves rippled, though no wind was blowing. Then suddenly, from deep below, a figure rose. Amaka gasped and almost ran, but her legs froze. Before her stood a mermaid, her beauty shining like the moon itself. Her hair was long and dark, falling over her shoulders like silk. Her eyes were bright like stars, and her skin glowed like polished bronze. Below her waist was a glittering silver tail that sparkled each time it moved. Amaka trembled in fear, but the mermaid smiled gently and said, "Do not fear me, child. I have been listening to your songs for many nights. They have touched my heart and healed my loneliness. Tonight, I could no longer remain hidden." Her voice was soft, almost like music itself. Amaka's fear melted, and she bowed her head. The mermaid continued, "Because of your kindness and your pure heart, I want to bless you. Take this." She stretched out her hand, and in it was a small shell that shone like the moon. Amaka took it carefully. The mermaid said, "Whenever you are in trouble, sing into this shell, and I will hear you. But remember, never use this gift for pride or greed. If you do, the river will turn against you." Amaka nodded with respect and thanked her deeply. The mermaid smiled once more, then slowly sank back into the water, leaving only ripples behind. From that night on, Amaka's life began to change. Whenever she sang, her voice became sweeter and more powerful. People who heard her said it was like listening to the angels. News spread from one village to another, and soon, people started traveling long distances just to hear Amaka sing by the river. They brought her gifts, food, clothes, and money. Her parents no longer went hungry, and her family became respected in the community. Yet Amaka never became proud. She always remained humble, always remembered the mermaid's warning, and always gave to those who had less. But as blessings grew in Amaka's life, so did jealousy in the hearts of others. Among the young women in the village were some who could not hide their envy. They saw how people admired Amaka, how she received gifts and respect, and they burned with anger. One day, they decided to follow her. That night, As Amaka walked to the river to sing, they crept quietly behind and hid among the trees. They watched as she sat by the bank and sang softly into the shining shell. They waited, and to their shock, they saw the river move again. The mermaid rose, smiling at Amaka. The jealous girls almost screamed with excitement. They had found her secret. The very next night, while Amaka was at home, the girls rushed to the river by themselves. They stood by the water and began to sing loudly, calling out, "Oh mermaid, come to us. Bless us too. Give us riches, give us beauty, give us glory." The water stirred, and once again the mermaid appeared. But this time, her face was not smiling. Her eyes were hard, and her voice carried warning. She said, "Your hearts are not pure. They are filled with envy and greed. The river does not reward such hearts." But the girls laughed. "We don't care about your warning. We want wealth, beauty, and power. Give it to us now," they shouted. Their voices echoed angrily into the night. The mermaid's face darkened. "Greed," she said slowly, "is like fire. It burns the one who carries it." But the girls only mocked her and demanded more. Suddenly, the mermaid raised her hands, and the river roared. Waves rose high, splashing onto the bank. The girls screamed, but it was too late. The river rose like a beast, swallowed them whole, and dragged them beneath its dark waters. Their cries were the last thing the villagers ever heard. The river calmed, but the girls were gone, never to be seen again. When news spread, the village was filled with fear. Some villagers whispered that the mermaid had cursed them all. Others said the girls had brought it upon themselves, but everyone agreed on one thing: Amaka was blessed, because she had kept her heart pure. From that day, she was called the Girl of the River. She continued to live humbly, using her voice to bring peace and joy to others, never misusing the mermaid's gift. Yet, the story does not end there. For even many years later, when Amaka grew into a wise woman, the villagers said that on nights when the moon was full, if you stood by the river and listened carefully, you would hear two kinds of voices. One was the soft, sweet singing of Amaka. The other was the cry of lost souls, the jealous girls trapped forever in the river's depths. And sometimes, just sometimes, a third voice would join the voice of the mermaid herself, keeping her promise to Amaka. So, my people, remember this story well. Kindness brings blessings, but envy brings destruction. If ever you find yourself walking near a river at night, and you hear singing sweeter than human voice, do not answer. For it may not be a person at all, it may be the mermaid, waiting, listening, watching. The story teaches us that kindness and humility bring blessings, but envy and greed only lead to destruction. A pure heart will always be rewarded, while a jealous heart will always be punished.